Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Stir in the Pot podcast. My apologies for being about 2 minutes late. My computer made me do a few things, and um, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Um, but we're here. We are getting ready to get things popping. Sorry, the computer is making me do a whole bunch of unnecessary tasks. Um, what is going on? What is going on, my people? Like I said, my apologies. My apologies for the late entry. My apologies for that. I want to apologize for that. And we're going to get ready to get going. So come on in. Y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do here. Give y'all a few minutes to log in, get some people in here, share the live. We have a great conversation for you guys tonight. Share the live. If you can, if you love me, share the live. Let's spread the word. Let's spread the word on tonight. Um, yeah, let's get things going. My computer, I shut my computer down to, do something, make sure everything is nice and fresh, and it really wanted to act up. But which is cool, which is cool because we are going to be all right. We're gonna be all right, you know. Um, so it is what it is. It is what it is, people. All right. It is what it is. Come on, share the live. Let's get some people in here. Share the live. All right. There we go. Got things popping. Yeah. There we go. I definitely need my ladies in here tonight. We're definitely going to need the ladies in the building tonight. This conversation is going to be geared towards, I'm just saying, it's geared towards the ladies tonight. This conversation is going to be very prevalent. This conversation is needed. I need all of you. Listen, get your girl. You wipe the camera off because we got live action tonight, baby. Listen, if you have a wife, if you have a girlfriend, if you have a friend, tell them to log in. Tell them to log in. If you have a female that you love, if you have a sister, a cousin, whatever, any female, I definitely want the females and the ladies logged in tonight. Watch this with your girlfriend, let Netflix and chill for a little bit, We are going to really dive in tonight, and we're going to hold a conversation that's much needed. This conversation, I believe, is very much needed. So yeah, if you can share it, if you don't mind, hey, sit in, watch it. Let's build together. Like I said, tell all of your female constituents, your girlfriend, your mistress, your wife, whoever. Share the live. If you can hear me, put a thumbs up in the chat for me. If you can hear me, put a thumbs up in the chat. Put a thumbs up in the chat. Seriously? Wow. All right. Our guest is in the building. What's up, Mara?
Hi! Can y'all hear me? Is it a delay?
No, I mean I hear you. I hear you well.
Okay, it sounds like an echo on my end.
Uh-oh. I mean, if you want,
Yeah.
you can bounce out and bounce back in.
Wait,
That's all.
no, I might not have to. I'm just, let me see.
I don't hear echo on my end, but
Does anybody else in the audience, are they reporting that to you?
no, not
No?
yet. No one has said anything about echo or anything.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I'm just tripping.
Who knows? Who knows?
That could very well be it. I could be just tripping.
Ah, how you
Hold
feeling?
on one second. I'm trying to get my camera situated.
Yeah, somebody said no echo, so we good on that
Okay.
front.
All
So we're
right.
good on that front. All right. All right, I shared it enough. So, man.
How's that?
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
You are Gucci. Let me
This is funny.
is this your first?
Stirring the pot. Ooh.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. This is definitely the Stirring the Pot podcast.
Yes.
I am your host, Gary Bryant. I am joined by one of my good friends. We're going. She put her name in the thing. Is Mara.G tonight? That's what we operate with. Mara.G tonight.
You
So
silly.
I know, I know, I know. I need to get it together. So, what time is it? Eight,
Eight
eight
oh eight
ten.
10.
It is 8:10. So I'm going to create this banner real fast, and we
Okay.
keep popping.
Okay.
Um, so how was your day?
How was my day? It was really chill actually. It was very smooth for me and I was glad.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. How was your day?
My day was Gucci. No complaints to be totally honest. You know, no complaints. My day started off. It's funny. Most people that's on that be know me is family and stuff like that. I suffer with gout. I told you about that. And I was supposed to get up this morning and train on my bike today. I was supposed to train on my bike today in indoors inside my house. And I woke up with this crazy pain in my foot. As the day went by, it kind of subsided, if you will, but uh yeah. So that's how my day went. That part of my
Yeah.
day sucked. Because it's funny, every time I'm kind of back like on my eating healthy,
Mm.
um, trying to come down a little bit more. And every time
Mhm.
I change my focus on that, um, something something happens. Which, we all get those kind of sidetracks, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking about our woman under attack. We are going to be talking this is a very, I believe, important subject, simply because of the reality of what goes on in society. As I did my research and as I, you know, figured out and searched numbers and things like that, it is very alarming. It is very alarming the stuff that females put up with in this day and age. It is very alarming, the stuff that females put up with in this day and age, and it's almost I like to say it's disrespectful. Not almost, it's very disrespectful. I remember hearing something say that a black woman is the most unprotected species on Earth. Now, I don't know where that came from, or that came from Black Twitter, uh,
I
or what.
think that was Malcolm X. I want to say that
Malcolm
says
X said
that,
that.
and I think so, or it's somebody that says it. It's a speech that they gave, and they were like, yes, along those lines, like the black woman is the most disrespected, right?
Oh, disrespected. Okay, I thought it was protected. I thought it was protected, but I think both of them go hand in hand. If you ask me.
Or
So
unprotected. It was something like that. I forget.
it was one or the other, right? So tonight we're just going to kind of like dive in to things that's going on in society pertaining women. And when I thought about when I invited you, and when I thought about kind of uh, you know what we can talk about, or what would be a good topic for us to kind of dive in on, I thought this would be a good one, because I know that you are somebody that not only keeps it real, but can see things from both sides of the spectrum. And you're pro woman. You
Thank
don't
you for that. I
you don't
appreciate
play.
you saying that.
You don't play. So um we're going to talk. And before we really get into it, won't you just share a little bit about yourself? Just tell people who you are, stuff like that. Give them a little bit of insight. You don't gotta get too much. Just give them a little bit of insight about who you are, and we'll try to take it from there.
Okay. Well, my name is Mara Griffin. Some people call me Mara.G. That's why I just put that in there like that. I don't know. Um, I am a confidence and self esteem coach. I have workshops for young women and girls, and I have a makeup line, and sometimes at like different organizations or schools, somebody wants a private event with the makeup and kind of tying in the workshop. I've done that before. What else? I don't know. But I am, most importantly, what you said, an advocate for women,
Absolutely,
particularly young black women.
absolutely.
All of that is based off of my personal experiences that I've had, where I had low self esteem and was doing things that were harmful to myself and those around me, essentially. Um, and and an attempt, as much as I could, not like just blindly let other people go through those experiences without, sharing my wisdom. So that's where that comes from. So I have
Okay,
the workshops where I do the groups, or I do like one-on-one calls and stuff like that.
cool, cool. So
Oh,
now,
and now I do audiobooks. I forgot about that.
oh, you got to talk about that now. She
I
is
am a
the
narrator, a
she is
voiceover
a
actor.
voice narrator, a voice actor. She would be the voice that some of you hear in some of the audiobooks. Um, so absolutely, that's actually dope, because I'm a big advocate. Well, not advocate. I'm a big audiobook listener. I love audiobooks. So
Well, I don't know if you read these type of books, baby. I don't know. I don't know why. Well, no, I know why, but they keep
mhm.
picking my voice to be in these like sex books. Like that,
And
the
listen,
audiobooks have nothing to do with who I actually am. That's just
you seducing the people with your voice. Yep.
it's horrible. My mom listened to one of my auditions and she was like, Tamara.
Ah, that is
It
funny.
was the funniest thing ever.
That's hilarious. That's
I know
hilarious.
it is funny, but it's fun. It's something that I like to do.
So let's just start off with saying, and I'm going to just pose this question to you. And whoever's in the comments, y'all all can comment. We're very interactive over here at the Stirring the Pot podcast. But are women under attack? Like from what see, hear, whatever. Do you feel like women, and you can base it on black women or women in general, are women under attack these days?
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
And
absolutely.
in what way are you like presenting this? Is this as far as like violence? Because I know what you
I'm
sent me
talking about.
earlier, or is this in
So
like all areas?
I want to say all areas to keep it broad,
Okay.
um, because I believe, me personally, and the reason why I wanted to do this episode, because I believe women are under attack violently. I believe women are under attack physically and emotionally, and especially in the black community. Um, I but I also believe that the image, especially the black woman's image, is under attack. But I am a subscriber to is some of that. I'm a subscriber to some of the image or some of the mindset of the woman today. I think that can either we could exonerate it, or we need to challenge and change some of it. I think some women need help, some women not so much. Um, and 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 are women under attack because of society's standards? Like women. I remember having a conversation with someone, and they were saying that women are out getting their bodies done because that's the only pictures men are liking on Instagram. So whenever they see these animated individuals with these fake bodies, if you will, the Brazilian butt lifts or the whatever they call it, the mommy makeovers and stuff like that, it seems like the society, the standards of society have driven some women crazy. So like just broadly, whatever you think, if we can justify it, then I believe it's justifiable. I
Okay.
I know that was a lot, but
No, no.
I'm sure you can give me your.
Hold on. I'm trying to get a pen because I want to write some stuff down in case. Go ahead. You can keep talking.
So I mean, we're funny. Lot came, my cuz, he said that melanated women has been under attack since their landing upon this rock, and he probably talking about the U.S. of A. He also said melanated women are under attack in religion, politics. You see, politics and hospitals, and sadly, no one is sticking their neck out to protect our sisters. So that's just some comments, and we're going to go like as we have this conversation. People are free to comment and voice their opinions, and we address them as we go along.
Okay.
So, what do you think? Are you ladies under attack?
So I think that, I mean, I'm a woman, but I'm also very much aware that I'm a double minority. I am a black woman. So I can
Mm-hmm.
only really speak from my experience. Um,
Absolutely.
as a black woman, I do most definitely think that since forever, ever, we have been under attack, like in every way. And once that transitioned and was reshaped through different eras and different times, like bringing it to now, um, I want to say that the ways of a woman are used against her. So the human desire that I have as a woman to be adored or desired is used and played out in society against me. Like, oh, if you want to be desired, then you need to look like this. You need to dress like this. And it's either going to make a young woman, do one of several things. She's either going to conform and be like everybody else, or she's going to make a conscious decision to stay true to herself and be seen as like weird or the outcast or crazy. the stuff that you say and do. Um, I firmly believe that it's a very crazy mind game, um, that we have been made to believe is okay and that's normal, and you're supposed to just accept it and deal with it and not second guess it, not question it. Unfortunately, for those who are not exposed to different perspectives, different levels of class or education, um, which is the majority, you fall short in knowing who you are, where you come from, which is going to stop you from knowing where you're going. And that group of women or people in general really are looked down upon instead of being uplifted. They're not being told how to do something. The way to correct a behavior is not to, almost like
Uh-huh.
if you had a child. If you have a child, you're not going to be like, oh my God, you're so stupid for touching a hot stove. You're going to be like, no, don't touch a stove. It's hot.
Yeah.
You might let a baby make some mistakes so they know on their own, like,
Uh-huh.
Dag, I shouldn't have went up them steps because now I done fell all the way down. But you're not going to let them get in the oven.
Absolutely.
So there are a group of people, and particularly women are always at the bottom of a group of people, in my opinion. They
Hmm.
are just being fed to the fire on purpose. um, there's a lot of power in being a woman. I mean, I feel like we all know that. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
come on.
Very much.
The species cannot even continue without either of us, but without a woman for sure. Like, and I think that power is attempted to be stripped away every chance it gets. And it starts in the micro ways. Like, um, how can I say? For example, what we were talking about before, making you think that you should look a certain way to be desired. And if you don't look a certain way, then you can't have certain expectations. You can't have certain standards because you don't look like that. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Whether it comes from the shade of your black skin tone, what you have access to as far as status and money, the type or origin of your education, where your family is from, what you've learned, as opposed to it being about like nation building, family building, community, unity, bonding, because we're only as strong as the weakest link. That goes for any organization, family, community, society. So I feel like I know for sure the way that stuff is set up now is done on purpose.
You have a
I don't
point.
think that I could be convinced of anything else. I mean, especially when it comes to black people, black women.
So, in my research, I actually found out a few. I'm very big on stats and numbers because I feel like numbers are always, no matter what you feel, believe, numbers always tell a truth, at
Mm-hmm.
least mostly. And a term that I found out, which is the new, they name everything a new way nowadays. So a term that I found out, so they're basically changing the term domestic violence into victims of intimate partnership, which is pretty funny to
Okay.
me. But I mean, they change it. See, like you said, everything is done purposely. So we have to be very careful and very mindful of that because sometimes with word games, we'll start learning that, oh, this don't pertain to us. These, you have to be very careful when it comes to certain things. So it comes to find out that victims of domestic abuse or intimate partnership homicides, 77.4% of women are killed by their intimate partner, and 22.6% of men are killed. So obviously, we see a pattern or a demographic where it seems like domestic, women are dealt the brute or the blunt force of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
It also states that let me just give a few little small facts. And it says nearly half of all women killed in the U.S. are murdered by a current or former intimate partner. It says about 4.5 million women in the United States have been threatened with a gun, and nearly 1 million women have been shot or shot at by a partner. So those are big numbers if you think about it. You
For
know,
sure.
think about it. Over 1 million women. Like this ain't we ain't talking about drug dealers and dudes in the streets that comes a part of that lifestyle. We're talking about women. We're talking about the feminine, the womb carriers. We're talking about women, like you said, who make society, not society, carries life. Let's just say that. Women who carry, the next generation, and they're being under attack. So one might ask, is this population control? Or one might ask, is this a spiritual attack? Some might ask, you know, this is just the norm. Because we think about it in the times of slavery, which wasn't abolished but was so long ago, women were treated just like men. So what do we do when, like, what do we do to kind of shift the paradigm of women being attacked? So my question, that was all just statistics, but my question to you is, what would your definition of an unhealthy relationship would be? And I ask that because it seems like this domestic violence and these issues, a lot of it stems from unhealthy relationship. So in your words, your feelings, your way, what's an unhealthy relationship? Where do it come from? Where does it start?
I think that when you enter in a relationship, I know for sure from my personal experience, I entered into relationships not healthy by myself. So I'm only going to entertain a partner who is probably also unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to grow and magnify my issues, their issues, and it's a ticking time bomb, in my opinion. I've been in domestic violent situations and relationships. Um, it's not it's not an easy thing.
Okay.
It's not something that I can say that like I sought that out. No. And that's also I honestly feel like because I didn't come from that type of household, I didn't come from that type of home. I never saw domestic violence growing up, like, but that doesn't mean that I had my own issues. So entering in those relationships, I allowed, certain things to happen. And we all know once you let one thing slide, it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows until it gets bigger and it's a major problem. I can say that that's probably the only thing that stopped my situation from ending to be one of those statistics
Wow.
because I didn't grow up from that. So I was able to be like, wait a minute, this ain't that. Like, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like, I don't know how or when, but I need to get out. And even just having that, it still took a long time to exit those relationships. That's not, I mean, you always hear those stories like, why did they stay, or why is, that's a whole nother thing. But my definition of an unhealthy relationship: when two people are together and the union is not benefiting either of them, it's not benefiting those around them. I've come to the understanding that a relationship is supposed to make you blossom even larger, make you shine brighter. Anything and anyone that union touches is supposed to grow from that. Just like you, when you walk into a room, you're supposed to light up the room, bring your whatever it is that you have to offer. You're supposed to serve other people. If your relationship is not doing that, the two of you as a unit is not making other people grow, making other people happy, more joyful, more knowledgeable, more of anything, then it's not supposed to be happening, because that's not a reflection of who we are as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a relationship forces you to like roll yourself in, like close yourself out. I mean, because that's how those start. Domestic violent relationships, normally they start like cutting you off from people, shutting you down, trying to dim
Isolating.
you out, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean. So if that starts happening, if that is happening, that's typically the grounds for a domestic violence situation to brew.
Okay. So for you and for the listeners, I'm gonna share a video real quick, and it's something that I think people need to be aware of. I think that we can all learn something from it. And after we watch the video, I just want you to kind of break it down. Tell me what you feel like if the situation was either
You talking
if
about me or the audience?
both of you.
Oh,
Obviously, since we're talking, you're going to give the most feedback, and I'm sure people are going to comment on it in the comments. But we're going to watch it, and I want you to tell me what could have avoided the situation, and what would you do if the situation was happening to you. So give me 1 second. We're going to share this, and we're going to try to, you know, um, make it do what it do. All right, give me 1 second.
For everybody out there that I will be doing this, but I gotta make it quick. For everybody out there that supported me and really knows what's going on, thank you all. Um, I'm going through a custody battle. I've been going through having my ex-wife say I molested my children and all kinds of craziness. Been fighting for custody for 3 years. So, you know, shit has been real crazy. What's up, Oliver? You know about this. Going through it with my ex-wife, blah, blah, blah. So, meet, start dating somebody new, and she got pregnant, and we got in a fight. First thing she does is threatening that she's going to do the same thing. You're never going to see your kids, blah blah blah. It's the holidays, man. I don't have no family, nothing. Anyway, I just did something crazy, man. I just shot my ex girlfriend in the head, yo. Um, Felt like a dream. Like I never thought I would be that guy. Um, I can't go to prison, so the person that really started my depression and all of this is my ex-wife. So she next, and then I'm going to do myself too. But I just wanted to say this to people: don't play with people's emotions, man. Don't lie on these men. Oh, here's my ex-wife right here. Today's the day. That I would be doing this, but
Oh,
I
I'm
gotta make it
sorry.
quick.
So obviously, well, from news, we know that he actually killed his ex-wife. Also, I'm not sure if he killed himself, but I think he did.
I think he did too. I
Yeah, I
think I
think he
heard that he
did. I
did.
think from here, when I what I read, I think he did kill himself. Also, what can you say about that video? And from a woman's perspective, what would you how would you handle it?
Um. All right. So anytime I'm asked something, I always like feel like I need to ask it as like an older version of myself, and then like the version of myself now. Like,
Okay,
so way back when I was a young pup. No, no.
young pup.
Let me stop playing. I think, um, yeah, I would have never paid attention to those signs. I would have been very self-centered and self-absorbed in any type of partnership and wanting my needs to be met, probably by any means necessary.
Hmm.
Meaning that I would be capable of saying and doing things to tear somebody apart, and it being detrimental to them and myself. Not necessarily meaning it might end in that type of violence, but it could have the potential to do that. Because based off of what he was saying, the new partner knew about his troubles and situation and still used that against him to get what she wanted out of the argument or the situation or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for sure as a younger woman, I did not realize um my strength or like the energy that I could give to anybody, let alone an intimate partner, and showing up for them. I didn't know that. I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know that I could change the tone of a conversation, let alone a whole day, by the way that I chose to respond or react. I didn't know that.
Uh huh.
But now I know this.
Okay.
So I'm a single woman. I meet men all the time now, going out on dates, whatever. I know some of them were friends, some of them I date, like whatever. Cool. There have been men that I have crossed paths with, and you know, probably because I'm older, more mature, I'm able to pick up on, emotional and mental health, and what's my, you ask all the right questions the older you get. So okay, so certain things come to light, and I'm like, okay, I can't get serious with this person because I already know that they have X, Y, and Z going on. Like, I'm not even gonna date you if I feel like you. No, I mean, we could be friends. I will lend, my light and be a part of your life in such a way, but it doesn't have to mean like I'm dating you and whatever the case might be.
Okay.
Um, or there are times where like, even if it is somebody I'm dating and somebody might be having a bad day. They might be like, I don't know, people can become snappy like for whatever the reason, but um I've had experiences like, dating somebody where they have an attitude about something and they become snappy, and my response is not to fight fire with fire. It's
Okay.
kind of like, okay, well, do you want me here right now? Like, do you want me to help you solve this problem or tell you how you can solve it, or do you want me to go? Like, I'm offering up real solutions for the other person instead of making it about me necessarily, because now I know, someone's, attitude or issue that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with me or something that I did, and there's no reason for me to take everything personal.
Okay.
That's just like some real life examples, I guess. But Um, I will say that if you're in a relationship as a woman, those are like being mindful of the things that you say and the way that you react are very important because, I mean, especially depending on the guy or the type of guy, like, um, you have to be careful because people are in a vulnerable state when you're intimate with them. And intimate can be platonic or it can be romantic, but I feel like especially if you're intimate like romantically and y'all are like dating seriously and stuff like that, like that's a vulnerable state that both of you are in. And not to say that someone is right and okay to, say and do certain things to you, but your response can really either drive the situation further to hell or turn it around.
Okay.
And that's a superpower if you really tap into it and use it to your benefit, because that is going to not only help the other person, but it also essentially it helps you, because communicating, that you're upset and that you're hurt does not always have to leave a scar and a wound in someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that anybody's like, no, nobody should be putting their hands on you and trying to hurt you or anything like that, but I just think that there's always little things that happen leading up to that. It doesn't sound like him and the new girlfriend got into one argument and he snapped and killed her.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like there was a lot going on in his life already. Um, and he probably shouldn't have been dating, honestly. Not with what he had going on. He had an ex-wife and kids. He said kids with an S, so it was multiple children.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but you can't mess with people's lives like that in their
Uh-huh.
head and being um oh, what happened?
I'm here.
Oh, oh, it went away.
I was drinking something. That's how I was listening.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think that we all have to be careful with the situations, that we choose to embark on.
So, all right, in the society, especially in the black community, right? We have a lot of women who I believe get into things that they really should not. Um, in the last 5 years, I've heard about more woman dope dealers than I've ever heard of before.
Oh my goodness, child.
Like, I'm talking about bees in the trap, bees in the trap. And, that's a very dangerous world to be in. And I believe that, society. All right, so think of what that statement. Women, so many women, female drug dealers nowadays. In the regular workplace, you have a lot of women who are trying to get equality, if you will,
Mhm.
get the big paying jobs. The
Mhm.
WNBA feel like they should be paid just as much as the regular NBA. You got female MMA fighters, which these women they be going at it.
They be
So,
tussling, baby, okay?
so like, but the question is, I always try to, and I can't say is mine, but I'm lately, especially this year, I'm coining the phrase, "Be careful what you ask God for," right? And I believe in some aspects we have to, and this when it comes to women, sisters, and all, you have to be very careful what you ask God for, because now women are basically saying that, oh, it was a discussion about men tennis players against female tennis players, and how men are stronger, faster, have more endurance, all this kind of stuff. And even Serena Williams said that if she goes against the best male player, he's going to destroy her within like 5 minutes. She said it herself on like Good Morning America. You have female soccer players who are trying to compete with male soccer players. And I think that the field are going to is going to be lopsided because we know when it comes to genetics, men are just naturally stronger. Men are just naturally they've done it. They've done the test in racing, or I don't know if it was at an actual Olympics, but Olympic style racing, where they was doing the baton race, and the men destroyed the women. Now, I'm not making these statements to say that women don't deserve something or whatever. But what I am saying is women have to be careful what they ask for, because imagine if you're home with your husband, right? You're home with your husband.
Please, God, let me be home with a husband soon. Come on. Come on, somebody.
You know
Say
what?
no, no.
It even makes it even better. Even makes it even better. You're home. You're home with your man, a dude that you're dating. Seriously.
No, 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 no,
No,
no,
no, hear
no.
me out. Hear me
No,
out.
no, 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 no. I don't
Okay,
like the way that sound. I like
we'll
the
say your
other
husband.
one better.
All right, we're gonna say your husband, right? You're home with your husband, 3 o'clock in the morning. Y'all hear a thump in the night.
He
Somebody
better get his fucking
listen,
ass up, okay? I'm
hear me
not getting
out.
up.
See, no, hear me out. Let me finish. 3 o'clock in the morning, someone then came up in the crib. He taps you, Mara. Somebody in the house. You need to go handle that.
I'll be like,
Because now listen,
nigga.
now that's why I said women have to be careful what they ask for, because in equality, you got to handle them same issues that I got to handle. So, do you go ahead? Do you want equality all the way around the board, or women just want it in certain areas that benefit them?
You just want it in certain areas, is my honest opinion. I cannot say, yeah, I don't want to be sunning my man.
Son of my man.
Like maybe to be smart, like, boy, shut up, but I don't want you telling me to go do something, like, no.
Like to defend our lives and stuff like that.
I mean, I got your back, but don't be tapping me on my shoulder, waking me up at 3 a.m. because somebody.
But I mean, hey, but see,
I'm not even sleeping on the side of the door, like the bed. Like the man gotta sleep on that side because they gonna kill you first, and then
oh,
they can get to me.
oh,
You gotta get attacked first, Papa.
Papa.
Because I'm fragile and I'm scared, so I need to sleep on the other side.
So do you think so? When it comes to places like the work field, or when it comes
When
to
it comes to, especially the work, like corporate America,
uh-huh
yeah. If I could do that job, pay me the same as you pay Ray.
uh-huh
That doesn't, because I don't want to diminish it like all we're doing, but what you're doing is using, logic, analytics, your mind. You can do that the same as your counterpart of the opposite sex. Like that's not a
okay
physical, thing different. Like your body doesn't react based on your hormones and those types of things, in my opinion. What
okay
you're talking about, a physical thing, is like, your testosterone and your estrogen levels are different depending on if you're a male and a female. So, and also we're conditioned based on society to react certain ways, depending on how you was raised, where you grew up, where you come from, who you are as a person. But as
okay
far as work and corporate America, most definitely.
okay. So all right, we got a statement here. Sid Curry said, "Scary makes you wonder, was those feelings always there? The rage, the blackout, but there's triggers, noticed or unnoticed." I think he's talking about the video. A lot of people know that a lot of people know what button to press, on a person at times too, but it's both genders who subsequently this can. I'm getting tongue tied. I don't know why. Subsequently, this could happen too. Just recently, men are acting out at a unexplainable rate. The issue is a man is made to dominate a woman physically. And the problem is this is used as a wrongful advantage. How do you feel about that statement? Our guest had to. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
So how do you feel about that statement that Mr. Sid Curry just made?
Um, I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with it?
No, he's saying basically just recently men are beginning to act out. I don't feel like that's true. I think that it's just we live in a different age now, so people are more aware about it. That's all.
Because of social media and things like that.
Yeah, and just people have different platforms and stuff like that, and it's just covered for whatever the reason more and whatnot. I don't think that that's something new.
All right.
I think that, in my opinion, when men get in relationships,
Let's talk about
it
that.
is, I think that when men get in a relationship, I don't want to say it like it's something bad. I was about to say it's an excuse. It's not an excuse. It is where they are supposed to be vulnerable. Not a lot of times men aren't given that space to be
Okay.
upset, to share frustrations, to be angry, to be sad, to be depressed.
He said not new, just more exposed due to social media.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Uh,
So with that being said, I think that like if you use that against someone, they're bound to blow up at some point,
okay.
unfortunately.
Well, I mean,
And I'm gonna be honest,
uh-huh.
because of my personal experiences, I always say, like, all right, so being single, right? Like, I just be like, okay, I want to be in a relationship, but I'm also not. I say that I'm not trying to rush being responsible for another person, because that's essentially what the place that I am in. I am responsible for, are you okay? How's your day? What do you need? Like, because when you're in a relationship, the objective is to serve the other person and they are supposed to serve you.
I like
So
that. That's
am
the truth.
I like, I don't want, no, not to say I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that for just anybody. That's what I mean. But regardless, a lot of people don't have that thought. People get into relationships to be served and they don't have any desire to serve the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just speaking from my past experience, I know for sure I wasn't thinking like that when I was 18, 20 something, 25, 20. I wasn't thinking like that. But, now I'm an old dog.
So now I'm old dog. Ew, be quiet. I keep telling you you're not old. Anyway, but think about it, right? So I agree with the point of when you're in a relationship, the purpose of you being in that relationship is fulfilling someone else, or like fulfilling another
Hold on
person.
1 second.
All right, I believe that when you're in a relationship, and fellas, talk to me. We're in a relationship. We want to be served by our women. We want to be, we want a woman that's going to know how to serve us and handle the needs that we have. And the reality of it is, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be very, real. A lot of these females are giving out lazy relationship vibes. I have a lot of different groups of homies that I talk to, and just people, guys in generals, coworkers, or dudes that I've worked with in the past, or dudes that I'm a part of certain communities. And a lot of guys complain about the vibes these lazy relationship vibes. Like women are not as apt to when they earn relationships. It's like they want the title, but they don't want to really sustain it on the level that it needs to be sustained. It's like you want to drive, you want to have a McLaren, you want to have a Lamborghini, but the maintenance and what it takes to sustain this car, you really might not be able to handle it. So some of us really have to think about some of these relationships. Like the reality of it is that when you're in a relationship, if you're not being if your partner is not fulfilling, I'm sorry to say it, but if your partner is not fulfilling a good 75% of you, because the reality of it is you're never going to get 100% of what you need. Is a thing, is a rule that a lot of people say is called the 80-20. This person may have 80%. This person may have 80% of what you need, 80% of what you want and need and long for. But you might see this little something over here that only it looks good because they're giving the vibes of that other 20% that you're not getting from over here. And the reality of it is when it comes to investing and when it comes to money making and things like that, do you leave the pot of gold that has 80% of what you need just for this little 20% that look good? And us as men, we have to think about that. Because I mean the reality of it is I'm married, right? I'm married. I think I am in a very healthy relationship. But the reality of it is my marriage wouldn't be so healthy if like Mara said earlier, if we not both our main goal is to make this person happy. I will go to the mall sometimes for myself. This is how you know when you're unselfish in a relationship. Or your job is pertaining like basically to make the other person happy. I will go to the mall to go get me a pair of sneakers or maybe something for me. And the fact that I might not see something for me or I don't see something that's worth buying for me, even better, right? Anybody on here know, like, listen, I've had all the Gucci, I've had Louis, I've had whatever. I don't buy none of that stuff no more. And it's not that I can't afford it, I just don't need it. But I buy that stuff for my wife all the time. And it's because I mean she likes it. I'm not hype about it no more. She likes that stuff. So and it's not like she demanded from me, but I do it because that's just something I like to do. So that's a part of my fulfilling to her because she don't demand it, but it fulfills her because I do it out of the kindness of my heart, or I guess out of my obligation as a husband. Sid Curry said they want constant accommodations, but then treats the relationship almost like it's secondary. Wow. I can't see. Listen, see, and I remember telling this to a girl back in the day, right? Before I was married, I was messing with this little baddie, right? But listen, I'm in the streets and everything, so you're gonna know when someone is treating you, when somebody is on you, when somebody is like, when a female is really interested because they hitting your line all through the day, they just texting random little dumb stuff like, whatever, like, oh, I just ate some chicken wings and it was good. You should have been here to have a piece. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you left your ginger ale here from last night. Da 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 da. I'ma drink it. Whatever the case may be, those are just silly silly things I'm using as an example. But the reality of it is, I like so with me, I was dating this girl. Like I said, she was a baddie. But I had to realize that, hold up, she's not dating me for me. She's dating me because she know what I have access to, and she knew I was getting money. But I had to realize that, I had to tell her. I said, I remember to this day, I told her, I said, listen, right, I am the priority. I'm not an option. And if you're going to treat me secondary or like an option, then I'm gonna just take my primary self somewhere else. because the reality of it is, if you don't demand something from someone in a relationship, you're never going to get what you need. Sometimes you have to demand a certain level of respect. Like when I was dating my wife seriously for years before we was engaged and married. We dated for years, but it took us like we got married in less than a year. I proposed to my wife in like April or May, and we was married in September. We have to start. The reality of relationships is there should always be a level of respect and a standard that both people have to come to. And if someone is not meeting the criteria, then you have to make the choice to either stay or leave. Do you have anything to say about that, Tamara?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you. I don't know why. Hold on one second. I don't know what's
All
going on
right.
with my phone.
So, while she get her phone together, my people's in the comments, right? So, I want to know, should things go back to the way they were in the early 1900s? I'm talking about, listen, to be totally honest with y'all, dating is actually a new concept. Dating is fairly new. The word dating didn't really come around until like the 1940s. Everything before that was just courting. It was like, all right, listen, you're gonna date. If you court this person, that's what it is. Your obligation and your job is to get with this person until y'all married. It wasn't a whole bunch of, believe it or not. No, I'm gonna say the 1920s and 30s. Between the 1920s until like the 1950s, dating wasn't really a thing until like I said, like the 40s and 50s is when people were starting to cordially date like a few different people, and it was really only like one or two people. So my question is to you all: do y'all think that dating? I mean, not dating. Do y'all think things should go back to the way they were before? Do you think the fact that we got all these options, we got dating apps, we got people hopping up in the DM, it goes down in the DM for people. Do you think, when you out in VIP, and females is looking your way or whatever the case is, and you single, you go get at somebody because you free, you can do whatever you want. But you already know that both of y'all dating 20 other people. Now, it's good to have option, but like, is the way things and the way society is now, like, is it better now than it was before? We have to ask ourselves that. Is things better now than they were before? Like, if places that are very traditional, they do things like arranged marriages. King. So the options before, now this was before our time, cuz, but the way things were before is the fact that, like I said, back in the early days, like I said, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and things like that. Back in those days, bro, like, dating, I'm telling you, you only really probably talked to one or two girls in the neighborhood, and one of them ended up being your old lady and your wife. But like I said, now you got apps out here for people to just get it in. Oh, listen, this really going to just be a one night stand thing. Some things are different these days. Sid Curry said, "Old dating is better if you want to be based off success. Cell phone, social media, all the stuff messed it up. Back then, you had to travel to be with a person, absolutely. And when you got with them, you were with them all day due to the lack of ways to communicate, absolutely. Now you can cheat via DM, text, live, block. entertain others, and it's just bad. You back? Hold on. Unmute yourself.
Oh, now you can hear me.
There you go. Now I can hear you. You was on mute. So basically we still kind of talking about relationships now. The conversation has shifted, but that's good. That's cool. It's not a problem. Um do you think, Mara, do you think, I don't know where she went. She might be I know she's driving, she's coming home from work, so she might be having technical difficulties or whatever, but we're gonna keep flowing and as she come in or whatever. So Sid, I totally agree. Like, I totally agree. Hold on.
Is
You
that
back?
better?
Yep.
Okay.
So Sid,
Do I sound okay?
you good. At least
Okay.
on my end, you're good.
Okay.
So Sid, I agree because I believe that there will be a lot more successful relationships if there wasn't so many distractions. I only can speak from my experiences. So sometimes I'm not gonna lie, when me and I take my wife out on a date, I'm sometimes in my phone so much, being so comfortable, and she has to check me and be like, hey, can you put your phone down? If you out with me, we on a date, da 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 da. And sometimes I can forget that, yeah, I already got her, but I have to do certain things to keep her. So do you think that things should go back to the way they were, like in the early 1900s, when it wasn't like you dating, multiple, like dating multiple people, and it was only really like two or three, didn't happen until like the 1950s, 1940s, when people started to entertain the idea of, dating multiple people to find out, oh, if I can get better over here, if I can get better over there. Do you think when it was earlier, when it was like, yo, all right, I'm from this neighborhood. I've seen Mara over there from the neighborhood walking with her school books. That's it. I'm gonna try to get with her, and that's it. I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to get with that one girl. But that's how it was in like our great grandparents' times or something like that. It wasn't like now you on Tinder, you on DMs, setting up dates on Facebook on people. You know what I mean? Like whatever. You didn't have so much access to so many different people. Even if you knew all these people, you didn't really have that kind of access. So do you think the way things are now with all of these options in the dating field, do you think things are better now, or were they better before when there wasn't so many options?
Well, I mean, like I said before, I think that everything is set up by design.
Okay.
It's the way that things are set up is always to make you feel like what you have is not enough. From the kind of car that you drive, the job that you have, even your own children that you have made, they're not enough. So your partner is not enough because it's
Wow.
better over here. Somebody's doing better over here. Comparison is going to always take your joy and happiness away. So
That's
if you have access to see other people doing things and it's presented to you in a way that makes you feel less than, you're going to want that. You're going to see what it is that you have to do to get that all the time. Most of the time, the things that's considered better is associated with the amount of money that you have access to, or maybe not the tangible money that you have, but even your relationships. Who do you know? So it's detrimental to everybody, that we have this design society this way. And only people who are aware of that and understand, I mean, what I would consider that fact, are going to be able to push against that and stand firm in whatever it is that they have and that they believe.
So Lakeem said older melanated women might not agree. Their husbands were drunks and violent back then. Very true. Domestic violence started to get big during that era, which is very true. Black men were working 16 hours for the man to come home and take it out on their family. SHIT. I don't know. I mean, he has a very valid point because in those days, segregation and the black man going to work, white man, black and white people working together, but the black man know that he's making $5 less an hour. Is it that's it's a stress in that. It's an anxiety and a stress that comes from, like, I know a friend of mine that knocked his boss head clean off because the company didn't even tell him he was training his new boss, where he felt like he was qualified to be the new boss, which he was. How you going to jump over a person that you're going to have train the person to run the ship? It doesn't matter, because this person that's training the person, they are capable of running the ship, obviously, which was kind of messed up. I wasn't as bad. I wasn't even upset when he told me he knocked the person's head off. I was like, bro, you had to do what you had to do. I was like, play, you had to do what you had to do, play. I'm sorry. And it's a shame because that's the kind of stuff that, let's just say, like, our great grandfathers and grandfathers had to put up with.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not justified that they were starting to be domestically violent. They would get off and get a fifth of something to drink on their way home and be drunk all night long. And all they did was drink, get their behind up early in the morning, and go to work. Eat. They come home, eat a plate that, remember that big piece. Why you deserve a big chicken breast type situation. So it gets very, we've met, black men and black women have dealt with some detrimental times, because you have to give credit to the black woman that put up with the black men, because back then it wasn't no divorce.
Yeah, no.
They wasn't.
Where was she gonna go? Where was I gonna go? What was I gonna do? How was I going to feed my kids?
This Negro,
where were we going to live?
There you go. So it was no choice.
Who was going to protect me and these kids? Like,
there was no choice. There was no PHA housing. No women's shelters for abused women.
No.
There was none of that. So I believe I'm truly a subscriber to treating, especially black women, as me being a black man raised in a single parent household by a black woman, living with all sisters, black women. I've seen things, where I believe that, women are sometimes treated wrong. I don't think so. I think sometimes women have to be careful with asking to be integrated in certain places in the world, because I think that is going to do more of a disservice to them than a service. So let me ask you this, and I want you to be blunt and truly honest. What do you feel about Kevin Samuels? So, for about a year now, we know the YouTube phenomenon, which is Kevin Samuels, has taken place for about the last year. And it's funny because, I can find things that I agree with Kevin Samuels with, and I can find things I disagree. But at times, I feel like I feel like women miss the lesson that they can learn, because he infuriates a lot of women. He gets women pretty upset. So
you want to know what I think?
I want to know what you think.
Okay, so I'm gonna be totally honest. I don't think that he's all bad.
Okay.
I think the things that he be saying for the most part, from my perspective, are true. Because he
Okay.
said things about men and women. So I can't be biased and say that he's all bad because most of the stuff he says is about women or to women. But because when he says stuff about men, I'll be like, yup. I do for sure believe that his delivery is all the way inappropriate. I think that sometimes the messenger is not always supposed to deliver a certain message. And I think that his tone, the word choices that he uses are fucked up sometimes. A lot of times, more than not, honestly.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily think that he's saying the wrong thing, if that makes sense.
So basically,
Like, I can say something. First of all, I know I'm good with words. I know I'm good with using my tone and my inflections in my voice to relate a message that could be just as harsh, but it's not going to be received that way. It might be received as like tough, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she just like, you know what I mean? That's just a skill that I have.
So
he makes a conscious decision to purposely do the opposite. It's all for entertainment and to get his, grasp people's attention, which to him correlates as money. So he doesn't care.
So you think that, are you a subscriber to all right, are you a believer that no all right, no do you believe that the gift is not valuable because the rapping sucks?
No, I think that anybody can take, the good from any experience. I think that you're supposed to leave all the bad stuff behind from whatever that you witness, that you partake in. Like, no, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that everything that he be saying is totally wrong. I just really believe that his delivery, and even sometimes because his stuff is video, so even sometimes his body language just be given like, you know what I mean? It's almost like Oprah could say the same thing to these women and it would be received totally different.
But see, that's because that's Oprah.
That's what I'm saying. And
See,
he's Kevin Samuels, so
Oprah
his
has
delivery
to,
is
but see,
Kevin
Oprah has
Samuels.
to appease to the melanated community. I mean, not the I'm sorry, the Caucasian Anglo-Saxons. Oprah has a different demographic of followers and listeners. Oprah, didn't just have black women listening to her. She had.
Okay, but let's take Ayanla. She can be just as tough as Kevin. We've seen her say some things to people. They'd be like, "Dang, she said that." Like, but because it's from a different person, and because the delivery is different, the intent is different, it comes across as a totally different way.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. So let me ask you this: if your husband,
you keep giving me a husband, thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't want to say boyfriend because you got mad last night. So if your husband brings you a pair of no, if your husband brings you a Birkin bag, listen, hear me out. He's bringing you a gift. It's a Birkin bag. It's the big one. Right? It's the big Birkin bag. But in his travels, the bag and the box got destroyed. Is it going to make you feel any differently when you open it up and you see a Birkin bag?
I'm gonna say yes.
Is the gift going to be diminished because
yes,
the outer, and why is that?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about my natural reaction. Like if he pulled out a trash bag and like, here, I bought you something, I would be like, what the fuck is that? But all right, I'm gonna open it, and then once I saw what was inside, I'm gonna be like, oh.
No,
but
I
maybe it won't. Then I don't know.
I use that metaphor because maybe we can look at the situation like you said, taking the good with the bad. So regardless of what is wrapped in, it's an authentic Birkin bag. So because what's inside is way more valuable than what is wrapped in. So sometimes I feel like, and I mean, you could disagree. I feel like, or
Well, you
maybe
know what? That goes back. I'm sorry, I don't mean to
no,
cut you
go
off, but
ahead.
that's like, when people say certain people they're not going to take advice from people because they don't have certain things, and that's not the way it should be. Like I'm not in a relationship, but that don't mean I don't know how to conduct a healthy relationship.
Yeah,
You
very
get what
true.
I'm saying? Or like
Very
someone
true.
who is homeless. That don't mean that they can't tell you how to buy a house.
Very true. Very true.
Like, so you can't always take face value from things. You have to dig deeper and find the value in it for you.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
That's the only reason why I can say it's for entertainment purposes the way that he goes about it, but I think he do be telling some of those women the truth. And I also believe that, okay, so very quickly people caught on to, if you go on his show, he gonna try to tear you apart. Why would you keep going on the show? Why would you subscribe to that? Why? I'm not
And
calling
they
up
were
on his
calling.
show.
They were calling.
So he could be like, you got your turban on with your braids, and you think that you me and Kevin is gonna fight, okay?
Well, listen. So with everything that's going on in society, like I said, women are being killed at an alarming rate. The numbers are rising every year of women being killed in our state alone, in our city alone. The numbers from last year of the number of women killed has doubled, and that doubled probably in October.
Yeah.
What would you say? Just a quick word to women, young girls, to keep themselves safe. Just like whatever wisdom you want to spill, young women going out here getting into these, being stuck in these domestic violence situations. Just what advice would you give them? Like talk to them like a big sister
Oh
or
wow.
a auntie, a mom. I mean, you are a mom. What advice would
I
you
am a
give?
mom.
I mean, what advice would you give?
Um, hmm. I think it's very important for you to determine who it is you want to be, the type of
Uh-huh.
life that you want to live, and every action that you do should relate to that. No matter if you fall short of that sometimes, you got to pick it back up and start making choices again that are going to reflect who it is you want to be and where it is you are trying to go. If you find yourself in a situation and it's hard for you to, I mean, I know for sure leaving violent relationships, domestic abusive relationships is not something easy. And I know I didn't do it alone. And I think that if you spoke to anyone who has ever left those type of relationships, they didn't do it alone. So you have to reach out to people and ask for help. um, yeah, it's a decision that you have to make for yourself about what you want and how you want your life to be. Because if you don't, that other person will continue to make those choices for you. And you can't give somebody else you can't relinquish that type of control, especially when it's detrimental to you and everyone else, most likely, especially if there are children involved. Like, it's not helpful for anybody. Um, I do recommend for younger women, don't get in a relationship, a serious relationship, um, at a young age. Probably, I would recommend probably before the age of 25. Um,
Why would you recommend that? If you don't mind me asking.
no, because I think that young women are typically, and men, you're typically experimenting
Okay.
prior to that. Um, and after that, but once you hit the age of 25, like you're a little bit more purposeful, in my opinion, when you're just out here experimenting just to be trying people out or trying things out. It's never going to be something healthy. Well, not never. I'm not going to say never. Typically, it's not going to be a healthy situation or something that's going to you know, have the result that we would all hope. I can say that. Like, not to say that that doesn't happen or it never happens, but 9 times out of 10, especially nowadays, those relationships where you see people together for a long period of time from a very young age, they had the support of their family and friends supporting them in their relationship as individuals and as a unit.
Mm.
Typically, anyway. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
two people can't meet and without support and it doesn't grow and flourish into something great and beautiful. But under the age of 25, I don't think that women should put themselves in a position to be an experiment or to experiment with other people in that way, because it can build up a bad taste for other people or the opposite sex, that doesn't need to be there. You don't need to have those typical teenage young adult experiences um to later have a healthy relationship. You could just wait. You can date and have fun. I'm not saying you don't need to mingle with the opposite sex. I'm not saying that. I just don't think that you should be probably having sex, especially not casual sex. And you shouldn't be in a serious relationship, especially if you know it's not all the way right. Like settling kind of sort of just to have someone, because like I said before, women desire women want to be desired and adored. So I feel like, if I can think back correctly, once you hit that puberty age and you start feeling yourself, you start smelling yourself, and then little boys start saying stuff to you, you're like, oh, you like, women like attention. um and you seek that attention and that from other people because you haven't really determined how to give it to yourself yet, or how to make yourself feel special in a certain way. And I think it can happen before 25, but I just think 25 is a good age for you to put yourself out there in that way, in a healthier way, because the environment, meaning like the environment you have within yourself, within your own aura, within your own space, you know how to operate as an individual, and it'll make you better for a partnership, no matter if it's short lived or if it's something that's long term. That's just what I think. And also, it gives you the advantage to, people typically, but I know for sure, me, if I'm in a relationship, I'm giving that my focus and my energy. So I'm not able to totally focus on me. Because when you're in a relationship, it's not just about you and what you want and what you need. So, of course, you're, like I said before, being responsible for somebody else. Before the age of 25, that's when you should be focused on yourself, because that's when you can, go for those goals without having to worry about how someone else feels about it. You can, I don't know, go to that faraway school or go take that job in a different city. You can expose yourself to different experiences without
Absolutely.
having I don't want to call it a burden, because a relationship is not a burden, but it can be a burden if it's not a mutually beneficial relationship. If you're with a partner that is seemingly abusive mentally, emotionally, it's only going to get worse with the financial and physical abuse. So you won't be allowed to have those situations, and you won't even be able to identify, I think. Like, oh wow, this is the start of something that I don't need to be involved in. You're going to be like, "Oh, well, he loves on me and he does all of this stuff with and for me, and I need that attention. I need to feel desired, and I need my space to be sensual in, and I need that space to feel like I can be a woman in with somebody. So I'm going to do anything and sacrifice myself." But I think when you're 25 and up, you kind of have the how do you say it? Wherewithal? Is that the right term? Am I using that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
To be like, no, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. I would love for you to go on this journey with me. I want us to see how we can make this happen and make this work. But I need to go do this for myself. And it doesn't come from a place of you being selfish. It's just like because if you figure if you've worked hard for something and this is a benefit that you see, you're not going to give that up, nor are you going to choose a partner who would put you in a situation to give that up, kind of, sort of, if that makes sense. I don't know. I said a lot. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I would definitely say that, as a man, especially as an African American man, uh, women should be respected. Women should be protected at all time. I believe, sometimes we get our wires crossed, especially in our community, where women are. I mean, a lot of women, I believe, are not appreciated, but I believe that a lot of that has to do with the way some of these dudes were raised. A lot of these dudes lose morals and respect, and I think morals and respect could guide a man of being a great partner. If you have morals and respect, it will keep you intuitive to treating a person right. Keeping it real, that's all morals. Keeping it 100, that's just a slang way of saying I have a code of morals and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to give you honesty because that's the way I was raised. That's all that is. It's just a
And that
slang.
takes practice, though, too.
Well, yeah, it does. It takes practice. And not only does it take practice, but it takes a certain level of being able to say that no matter what, I'm going to be this kind of man. I'm going to be this kind of person. And this is the standards for my life. And I feel like if you don't keep those morals and those standards and for your life, then you will do no good for a person. You would do no good to be taken on a journey with another human. You would do no good with being in a relationship with someone who does one deserves a good relationship and deserves to be treated right. I feel like everyone deserves at least that much when it comes to relationship. Um, this conversation was supposed to be about solely on women, but I feel like it kind of all intertwines.
And we all play a part in it, though. So.
We all play a part, absolutely, and it all intertwines. We have to make sure that women are protected by any means necessary. Um, be it a modern relationship or traditional relationship. Remember, we had that conversation. Now, remember, know which one you want.
I'm not fooling with you, okay?
Listen, I want to appreciate you for joining the Stirring the Pot podcast tonight.
Thank you for
For
having
all of
me.
you who would like to know, this is my podcast mentor.
Can you please stop?
That's my dog. That's my homie. You helped me get on my podcast journey. At least you gave me the gems, how to get started, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm happy to share anything I can. So
Exactly. So I appreciate you for joining us tonight. I thank everybody that listened. We're going to blast this out on Facebook. I'm going to upload it to YouTube tomorrow. I'll probably send you the video if you want it. And you guys, I appreciate you. I hope you all have a safe night. And we're going to end the episode tonight at here. All right. You guys,
Thank you all for coming and
appreciate you,
listening.
Mara. Get home safe. Have a good night.
Yes. Have a good night, everybody. Bye, Gary.
All right. All right, you guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. This was the Stir in the Pot podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Gary. Y'all be good. Peace.